Hello and welcome back to another interstellar video. Today we are talking about Tropical Depression 16, which has formed in the Atlantic. Yet another storm that has formed in the Atlantic. And if this does form, I believe it would be Tropical Storm Paul. So we're already at the P name. And we do have another disturbance that may form. So the heart of hurricane season, early to mid-September, has been pretty decent. So we're still in the peak of hurricane season, although we've passed the actual peak. We are still in an area of relative high development, and we are seeing that the main development region is producing some storms. So let's take a look at the current stats of this storm. So we have maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour, minimum central pressure of 1,008 millibars, and it is moving west-northwest at 14 miles per hour. So let's start off here with our warnings and cone. So this storm is expected to remain a tropical storm, but take a turn toward the north and Bermuda right around Tuesday and Wednesday when it takes that turn. From now until Tuesday, this storm will be moving to the west-northwest, north of the Leeward Islands, so no real land threat as of now, but if you do live in areas of the northern Leeward Islands, Puerto Rico, as well as Hispaniola and parts of the Bahamas, there may be some rough surf in the area. Any real mainland impacts would be in Bermuda, as the storm will probably move toward that area between Friday and Saturday, although that is not on the cone as of yet. So we just have to wait and see on that with those impacts. So we have the arrival time of winds with wind speed probabilities turned on, showing that the highest chance of tropical storm force winds is between now and Monday at 8 a.m. That is that 20% risk or higher, all the way up to the peak, which is 40 to 50% around Sunday at 2 p.m. So here is this storm, and as it has just been named, we do not have a loop, but we can see that the storm has some outer bands, has a clear area of rotation, as well as some thunderstorm development within the interior of the storm. So overall, for a tropical depression, it is a pretty well-looking storm, albeit this storm is very small. So here is the current storm information, and as this storm has just formed, we don't have our global hurricane models, nor do we have intensity guidance, but the National Hurricane Center cone does show us enough here that this storm should remain a tropical storm for most of its lifespan, as it is a tropical depression now. It will form into a tropical storm and then remain there for a while. The GEFS is pretty all over the place with these individual spaghetti strands, as I like to call them, and the intensities on some of these, you can see the different colors. That does represent the strength of the low pressure, although the mean track does show this hovering right in between 1,007 and 1,009 millibars, keeping it relatively weak throughout its entire lifespan, and it does have that turn between 72 and 120 hours. Now, Bermuda is somewhere right in here, I believe. So we could... There it is. Boom. So, some of these strands do take it very close to Bermuda. So, that is something that we do have to look out for. So, here is the GEPS model, which shows this staying at about 1,007 millibars for the next 24 hours, then intensifying to 1,003 millibars in 48 hours, taking that turn to the north between 72 and 96 hours, dropping down to 991 millibars. Bermuda, I can't really find. Let's try and go by latitudes here, so 30-ish. So it should be right in here, being that this mean track does have it passing right near Bermuda, so do be on the lookout there at 981 millibars at 144 hours. at 192 hours. The storm is at 979 and remains that way as it moves off to the northeast. So the GEPS is showing a much stronger storm, potentially maybe even a hurricane from this storm, as it turns to the north, goes into some waters that haven't been utilized by other storms recently, so we could see some development there of this storm. So here is Weather Nerds, and this is the European ensemble, which does show that turn toward the north and east, short of Bermuda. So even though there are some spaghetti strands that do go toward Bermuda, the mean track does show this to the east of Bermuda, which should limit some of those impacts. And it also shows the storm remaining pretty weak throughout its entire lifespan, as it is probably remaining a tropical storm in this model, which does kind of correlate to the National Hurricane Center, which the National Hurricane Center does use the European ensemble a lot for their forecasts. Finally, I do want to look at two global models, since we don't have the specific hurricane model. First of the two is the GFS, and here is our system right here. You can see that the storm is very weak in this model run, really can't get a grip, takes that turn toward the north, and is eaten up by a frontal system that comes off the coast of the US. So really no development there until it does get engulfed in that frontal system. Then it becomes an extratropical cyclone there with some development in terms of millibars. Now we have our Canadian model, which, oh, that's a new model run. Let's go back here. Does show this a little bit stronger through the Lesser Antilles and the Greater Antilles. Does have that turn toward the north, but it then has this storm stalling out, as it has the remnants of Odette kind of doing a full loop-de-loop here in the North Atlantic, thus halting this system over the Southwest Atlantic. Not Southwest, I guess southwestern portion of the North Atlantic. So that hinders the development as well, and these two storms eventually just combine into one storm, and it kind of disrupts both of these storms and creates a weaker storm in the middle of the Atlantic. So both of these model runs are very bearish on this storm. Neither of them have this becoming very strong, nor does it have it becoming a long-lasting storm. So we do have a lot of discrepancy right now between model runs. As we saw with the current storm information, we have the GEFS and the European ensemble that show a weaker storm, may not have huge impacts, but then you have the GEPS, which shows a very strong storm that may have incredible impacts on Bermuda if it does get to that strength. And in previous model runs of the GFS, we have seen a storm coming out of this region that has become a Category 1 or a Category 2 hurricane. So this storm has been around for a while. It formed off of the African shoreline and has just been meandering off toward the west-northwest for probably close to a week now, and has never really gotten that strong sense of that tropical development, and now we are finally seeing some more of that. So at this point, it's a question of, did this storm form too late to develop, or is it now reaching its peak and is moving into waters that can really sustain a long-lasting, stronger storm? The most recent storm that passed through this area was Hurricane Larry, which did come through this area and remained east of Bermuda. But we just have to wait and see on this, and we'll probably get some more information in the next 3 to 5 days on whether this storm is going to hit Bermuda or what impacts it'll have on Bermuda with this track and its intensity. So we just have to look out for that in the future. But if you do live in Bermuda, I would be just tracking this storm as it develops. But that is all I have for today. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell. But that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.